Hello and welcome to IGN Anime Club. Yay anime!
Yay anime!
I'm your host Maria Sanchez and joining me is Megan Sullivan.
Hello.
Mike Mamone.
Hey.
And special guest from Funimation, Justin Rojas.
Hey.
Thanks. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Coming for a very special episode here, the My Hero Academia Spoilercast.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Super
we
excited.
didn't get to talk, or we didn't get to do a lot of Spoilercasts this year, and so now we're just going to the best shows of the year and breaking them all down.
Definitely is one of the best shows this past year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I teared up so many times. Just like, oh my god,
See,
the emotions.
That's the thing, about this show. It's like it's the different kinds of tears. It's not like it's just making you cry like in like Anohana thing where like they're just trying to make you sad. It's like the tears of joy and excitement and sadness.
Yes. Or sadness, then excitement.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which is great.
So one thing we talked about before the show is, what do you call the protagonist? What is his name? How do you identify him?
So I mean, we typically. You mean just like in his actual name?
Yeah.
There
I
are
mean, we
so
call
many
him
names.
Deku because that's like his
Deku.
hero name, but
Yeah.
then like All Might
I
calls
was
him
thinking-
by his
So I was thinking Midoriya, maybe.
Yeah.
So I kind of
or Izuku. I think
Yeah.
this is
Izuku.
Yeah, so I was thinking about,
Deku,
I call him
Midoriya.
Midoriya, and then I realized, oh, but he's also Deku.
I think
The
we
superhero types.
At least on our show, on
Yeah.
Double Talk, when we were watching it throughout the season, we definitely continued to refer to him as Deku.
Okay,
I think that's like the most affectionate term to refer to him as. Right?
it's the name of a hero.
it is a
guess
name of a
so.
hero. It wasn't meant to
Yeah, it's
be,
two
but it
syllables.
ended up being the name of a
Thanks
hero.
to Ochako.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's super down with that name now. So.
Yeah. I don't think he was before, but now the cute girl likes that name.
Ah.
It's true.
Makes all the difference.
So I will refer to him as Deku for the rest of this.
I think we'll
yeah.
just lay it down. He's
Also,
Deku.
It'll be easier
Alright.
too.
we remembered that the way we remembered it, and I'm sure a lot of the people had the same connection. We're like, oh, Deku tree.
Yeah, me too. Like, oh, he's got like green hair, you know, it's all good.
Yeah.
Little Deku scrub. So cute. He's still just a little scrub. He's growing.
He is.
He's adorable.
Aw.
He's so adorable. And that's one of the things I love about the show is the character designs. And so Deku's design, he has that green hair. He's got freckles. He's like big, wide eyes. He's just like, you just want to pick him up and squeeze him. He's so adorable.
Oh, the scenes when he was like a kid. And then,
Oh my gosh, the scenes in the beginning.
The scene where he's in the
So
kid,
sad.
he's rocking back
Yeah.
and forth.
That's one of my favorite internet GIFs, whatever you call them right now, because
Yeah.
it's just him just rocking out. He loves All
He's
Might
just so
much.
happy.
So precious.
He is. And then when his mom has to
mom-
tell him
Oh, that
that
was so
he doesn't
sad.
have a cork and he can't be All Might, and it's just it's so heartbreaking.
So can we
scene.
talk about that? Like,
Yes.
his mom, and I get why she said that, and I get that, but you always know, like, as a parent, you're always supposed to encourage your child's dreams, like, no matter what. But
That's
But
true.
at the same time, you don't want them to have crushing defeat later in life. Like, is it better to live this lie, or is it better to just let them understand that you can be something else, whatever you're good at? Maybe you can't be the thing that you want to be, but maybe you need to be
But
the
he can
thing
always
you
be a
need to
hero. And that's the thing
can
that I
be- yeah.
think she was like, well, you're not going to be, you are special and you can be a hero. I'm not going to say how, you can figure that out, but, and and
It's on your own
she
time.
figured, I mean, I guess she didn't think about it that way, that she was crushing his dreams as much as just giving him reality, but there's a little bit of a difference there.
I do like she comes back around later on, though, when she makes him his really dorky costume based on
Yeah.
his really awful drawing, and then it's like, I'm so sorry I doubted you. You chased after your dream anyway.
So
Yeah.
I teared up
And then
during
when
that
I
scene.
think his first day of school, she was like, she told him you're cool as he was leaving or something like that.
Yes, I love their relationship.
Support
It's
his
so
mom.
great
I
to
know.
see like son and mother relation. You don't see a lot of that in anime
You usually don't see a parent at all.
at all.
it's like, oh yeah,
Like, where's
Mom?
his dad? We
Exactly,
don't know. Yes.
mom.
Maybe
That's
he's
what
an
matters.
endeavor now.
Yeah, I don't know. But all I know is that it's cute.
I just want to say that I'm super impressed with her design skills.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
his costume looked on par with everybody else's. And I thought it was going to be like, oh, he's going to be noticeably different because he didn't get it from this company, right? But he just like fit in pretty well. No one made fun of him for
He
it.
did,
either.
well, I do like the part where All Might recognize what the costume is
yeah.
supposed to look like. Like you see the little like hair, like the little
And the
antennas, and
smile.
like the white collar, which is supposed to be a smile. And he's trying so hard not to laugh. He's like, that was really obvious. that was really cute.
I think it was like a genuine take on it, and rather than while this show, it has a lot of tropes and it has a lot of not just from anime but Western comics and things like
Yeah.
that too. It feels like a genuine show when you put it all together. It doesn't feel like it's it's just a formulaic kind of beast.
It feels like a perfect trifecta of action, comedy, and coming of age, which is something I don't see a lot of. I feel like that's a difficult thing for a lot of shows to balance. But this one really has like the aw shucks hero, but his arc is more believable than some. And I actually enjoy that because it makes me root for him even more, especially when you compare and contrast him to All Might, who's like everything that he's not.
Right.
But then they have this.
Then you find out.
Yeah. And then you find out that, he can be a hero.
No, totally, yeah. It was a nice change from One Punch Man, having finished the season prior. Also, all the talk about, all the hype with My Hero Academia about being like the next Naruto. You know, I kept hearing that. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. Well, also like hero anime in general.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so down with that stuff.
So kind of going back to something you said, Megan, is that I really like how Deku's progression is throughout the show. It's not that he really gets to be all that powerful or in control by the end of the season. Like, he still has so much more to do.
Yeah.
But he gets just that little bit that's enough to be believable within the time span that we're given with him. And that's something else I really appreciated, because obviously this was not going to end by the end of the season. And of course, at the very last second, they're like, okay, season 2. It's just like, I mean, it had to be.
Having
Of
said that,
course.
I'm a little surprised it didn't go for 24 episodes because I was like, I thought that they would wrap up at least the first arc with the, League of Villains.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it left me wanting more. I was like, oh, he's so, like, Deku's so close to like understanding his
I know
power.
this is a spoiler cast.
Yeah.
And I want to apply that to the anime, but I have not read the manga, so I do
Same.
not know if there's more things that are disclosed in the manga at this point in time. So that's a spoiler for me.
no spoilers in the
Yeah.
comments,
So
please.
this is the Spoilercast for the anime, not for the manga.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Sure.
Yeah, because we could read ahead to the manga. Like, I am so terrified of Attack on Titan season 2 because I've read the manga, and so I know everything that happens.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I've heard people saying like, but what if they change the anime, which I think wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But I think anyway.
So you're going to be enjoying
It's just
it
hard.
on a different way.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about things like if you've read ahead, but
That's what I'm afraid of reading any manga, really. Like One Piece,
Yeah.
I don't want to like spoil myself.
Yeah.
Also, just like,
Although at the same
that.
time, it's a great way to catch up on shows like Dragon Ball.
Oh,
When you're like,
yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to watch 100,000 episodes.
That's
oh, hey, I
fair.
can speed read through the manga.
Yeah.
So there is that.
I mean, there is a point. I mean, just kind of keeping on this conversation just really quickly. There is a good reason to read the manga too, because sometimes, like, if you look at foods or shows like Food Wars season 2, where it feels like it's a little rushed, a lot of times that becomes because they have to condense the manga so much. So it is
Definitely.
worth going back.
Yeah.
Just to say.
Another good point like that. So like Danganronpa, for example, you know, video game into the anime. Anime covers most of it, but it does feel rushed. And when you play the game, it fleshes out a lot of the same story, but you're not necessarily getting anything spoiled. So
Yeah.
I feel like Berserk is the best example where they cut out complete context in the latest iteration of Berserk. And so people are like, I don't understand what this is supposed to mean or what's happening. It's because it was explained in the manga, but they had to keep going with the
That's
anime.
like poor adaptation, in my opinion. On that.
Yeah, that would just straight up
Different
be poor
Sometimes-
adaptation.
It's just better when that happens. You kind of just make your own thing out of what you're adapting. Like with Blood Blockade Battlefront, they just had their own original story, but kept a lot of similarities between the manga, and then just ended it in its own way. So maybe we'll see more of that.
Waiting on that ending was forever.
Yeah. Anyway, that's about your academia.
Back to
Yeah,
Yes.
I know this
Sidetrack.
is. So you were saying like this could be like the next Naruto. Like this could go on.
I can see it. Yeah.
Oh,
Did you guys see the comic? I don't know if it was a fan made thing. I think it was, where it had to be. Never mind. It's like it was like Naruto, Goku, and Luffy like passing on like the
Yes, I did see something
Yeah.
like
to Deku. And it's like that. I was like, no way. That's
The next
obviously
shonen.
fan made.
Yeah, for sure.
Official.
Get the blessing
Can
of
we
like.
can we talk about the rapport between All Might and Deku just for a moment, because it is just the sweetest thing ever. And one of my favorite scenes from any anime this year was when Deku is training and he's in the park. He's like chained down. He's like struggling through the park, and then you just see All Might whiz by in a Segway. That made me laugh hysterically. I rewound that like 3 times when I was watching it on Funimation. I was like, wait, what was that?
Well, I'm glad they at least even do that. So, like you were saying earlier, that Deku doesn't just get his powers automatically. He even before he gets his powers, he has to physically train his body, which he undergoes some like serious training.
In
Yeah,
10
he does.
months.
I couldn't
Yeah.
do
Like,
that.
That's
No
some
way.
real stuff. I
Clean
mean,
that beach real quick.
Yeah,
I,
he did.
And I absolutely love like training montages. It's like one of my favorite things in the world. So I'm glad we got to do that.
Okay.
It was good, and you also helped the environment.
That's true.
I
That's
liked
true.
that. I like that little twist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that All Might was like, you have to train, but you have to also think about being here is not just saving people. It's like helping your community and doing all these other things too, which is a really important aspect. And I hope we get to see more of that kind of stuff in like Hero School, because we didn't see a ton of that.
We didn't.
We like saw
There
a
was
few
very
lessons.
little, like honestly, in school so far. But there's
Yeah.
so much. Again, there's so much they're covering,
Yeah.
and which is great. That there's so many legs, especially when it comes to a shonen show where you're like, man, you're just showing me a lot of the same stuff over and over and
Right.
like you want to see more.
Yeah.
And you
Which is
want to
good.
see the details.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different heroes in this show too that I'm interested in. Like Tsuya might be my favorite character, the frog girl. Like I didn't think she'd be any use at the beginning, but by the end I was like, she is awesome.
I love how everyone's shipping her and Deku. It's been like fan art
That's so,
everywhere.
that's so weird. Just like a random. I mean, they only have like one scene together, really, or one big
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But then you also throw Mineta into that scene, which is great. He's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So
Him and his
weird.
sticky balls. It's just-
It's like eat my balls. It's like, oh my god.
I love that. I love that
Okay.
guy.
Little perv.
but he was
Little
so
perv.
effective. They were so effective at what they were doing. That's the thing that's great. It's like you have this dumb power that seems incredibly like useless, and they work together and make it work.
I think it was a big part of them learning in Hero School too, is that just because they have a power that doesn't really seem to be important, it can still work in a really different way when they team up together. It's
Yeah.
like you don't have to work alone, which is really
Yeah, I'm
important.
still wondering what that invisible girl does.
Just run around
Just
naked,
naked?
all day.
That's it?
Or being naked.
That's enough.
So kind of bouncing off what Megan said, who are you guys' favorite heroes or characters?
Favorite? Oh man,
That's hard.
That is tough.
Except I knew right when I saw him, Eraserhead.
He's
Yeah.
awesome.
He is
Awesome.
really cool.
He just like comes in. He's introduced in a sleeping bag. It's the
Oh,
best.
yeah.
He just kind of like rolled up and was like, yes. And he's so disheveled and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
I like
He's-
his
he gives me a
apathy.
Kakashi vibe for some reason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mike was saying
like the
that
less
earlier.
suave
But, like,
Kakashi.
Yeah.
apathy kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, Mineta like is really funny, and every time he's on scene, like I love every scene that he's in. So like he's kind of because he's again one of those that's not just overpowered like what's his name, hot and cold guy, Todoroki, is that his name?
Oh, the hot coat. Oh, yeah.
Hot and cold. He's
I
so
just call him hot and
strong,
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he's cool, but like he's just like, man, you're just too powerful. Like I don't want to like you right now because you're just instantly a badass. And I'm sure there's more depth to his character, but I think I'm gonna go for Mineta right now.
Okay. Okay.
Oh man, I mean the pro heroes are really cool, and I think the one in particular that I liked the most was the cowboy dude that saved.
Oh,
Might.
yeah.
McCree when he
Yeah,
shows up.
yeah. Okay, that's his name.
I knew.
Yeah. As I was saying, so it just comes up and everyone's
Yeah.
like targeted.
Just like goes through like the ravine and stuff. Like man, all the pros are really cool. I just want to know who they are.
That's a really important thing, I think, because the all the classmates are cool in their own right, but you definitely see this huge gap between them and the pros, and that's a real thing that would happen, right? These guys are seasoned veterans and they are combat ready and they've done all these things that while the students are doing a great job, the pros are just ridiculous.
They know what they're doing.
So that's a big thing that stuck with me too, is that we have to realize we are looking at kids.
Mm-hmm.
So when Deku and everybody were, like and Sue were in the water, watching like Eraserhead get torn to bits.
Oh.
Oh, that was rough.
It was so hard to watch, and it made me so angry because Deku's like built up to be this like super heroic, like I'm gonna do what's best, and he just sits there and watches. But at the same time, it's like a kid watching, one of the pro heroes get like torn to bits by this scary bird.
One of your idols.
Bird its
Yeah.
brains showing. So it's like, yeah, I think although I hated it, I think it was a good point to make that they're
Plus,
not ready.
I think it also sort of underlined the fact that later on, when All Might is about to go back to teeny tiny, he's like going to deflate at any moment. Like that gets Deku motivated to protect him. He's
Yeah.
so protective of All Might, which brings me right back around to their amazing rapport, where you have this. I don't know. You have this relationship of somebody who wasn't going to be a mentor, kind of not having a choice, and then trying to help the least likely hero become a hero
So
because
one
he's
of
a
the
hero in
points
his
on
heart.
that side. So you've got Deku, who his main character strength is that he's very brave, heroic, and will do these things to help people, right? But that's also probably going to be a big part of his downfall. Like, right? It's a huge weakness he has.
Yeah.
But that's like the reason he got his powers, because All Might saw that and he thought that was what like he wanted to pass his powers off onto. But I don't know. That could potentially be incredibly reckless and like that can be.
Yeah, and we
considered
see that
right,
too.
yeah.
Like he just breaks his body all the time,
Yeah.
and like even by the end, he's still just flailing around.
Oh my god,
That
or
was
he's,
really
like,
gross.
Or they're just like flopping in the wind as he's falling.
Well, maybe he'll land this punch, and it's like nah,
No.
which also kind of stinks. But
Oh yeah, no, it sucks.
Yeah, the visuals are hilarious. That like him flopping around, then
His ragdoll.
the way that All Might just deflates and looks like the first time I saw All Might when he completely deflated and turned into a skeleton, I actually audibly gasped because I kind of shouted, like I didn't scream, but I was like ah, because it just like the contrast of like how he looks, so he's like muscly and perfect, and like the great American hero. They even talk about he has a Silver Age costume, which I think was like a nod wink to like Marvel. And then all of a sudden you see him like this gross, disgusting, emaciated thing. And I was like, oh my god, that's disgusting. Get it away.
it's like a little skeleton.
Yeah,
sucking
he
eyes and
does.
stuff.
Carrying his grocery bag. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of gnarly.
I think has there been, and this is my lack of anime knowledge I'm going to show right here. Has there been another anime that's been as like Western comic book focused? Because that's I feel like this is the first time I've really watched it. That's they're taking clearly like Western comics and then putting into an anime and making an anime around that, which is it's cool, and I think it's why it's kind of doing so well right now.
Not off the top of my head Western, but my boss and I were actually discussing One Punch Man, which is really satirical, but it
That's
also
true.
has a lot of Japanese inside jokes about just Japanese culture in general.
Yeah,
So-
this one's. I mean, it's while it's still clearly anime, it's animated a little differently. The
Right.
style's a little different, and the story is even told. While it's still like very much a Japanese school and that setting, I feel like it's still like a little more Western than
Yeah,
most.
like you have all the like the comic panels and like the coloring and shading, and then their powers are like when you think about it, it's like, is it Ms. Marvel who can like grow really big and like do all these stretchy things? That reminds me of Tia and the other characters. They have like these funky powers. You're like, how is this?
It's pretty much the X-Men, that's all.
Yeah, it's basically the
Well,
X-Men.
I'm so glad that in this anime they show you their powers, but also the like consequences of their powers. You know?
Before we
Oh,
move
yeah.
on,
Okay.
I was actually looking something up because they're like, which is the most comic booky? And if we want to get like super technical, Batman the animated series was animated in Japan.
Okay.
Oh,
Great one.
so
Like, but not like one-to-one comic booky, but like based on a comic book.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we want to get down to it.
I'm
Man.
okay with that.
So
I mean, it's a great series.
I do want to say that
That's why it's so good.
Yeah, I know. Right? I do miss that at the beginning they do have like these like the spots from like comic books and stuff at the very beginning and My Hero Academia for like some flashy intros and stuff, and they lose that a lot towards the end. Like that just
It
disappears.
was more gimmicky at first, it seems.
Yeah,
like,
and like I kind of wish they would have like peppered that through a little bit more because it was just something that I liked stylistically that they
Yeah.
did.
yeah, I thought it really made the show stand out. Although, ooh, speaking of standing out, Mike and I were talking about the amazing soundtrack.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
so good. Like
Oh
not
my
just
God.
the
the
opening and
musical
anything.
cues and everything are
Yeah,
so good in
they're
this.
so
Listen to
good.
the opening every time.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
it
So
hypes
good.
you up.
The
I
opening,
think
the ending, and then they'll have this mix of like guitar, like headbanging action, but also like a little bit of like hip hop or rap in there too. It's a really cool mix.
Yeah, I think the opening's
Gets me hyped
The
every
Day
time.
by Porno Graffiti, and the ending is. Yeah, I double checked with Miranda if I could say that. And the ending is like Heroes by Brian in the Sun. As soon as that ending came out, I immediately went to iTunes to see if I can find it, and then it's only sold in Japan.
Yeah, the Japanese iTunes always gets the stuff. Sometimes
Yeah.
we get it on Amazon though.
Yeah, we've been working a lot with Milan Records lately, and they've been getting a lot of anime soundtrack stuff. They did the Blood Blockade Battlefront one, which is really good too.
Yeah.
And I mean Shin Godzilla and like Evangelion, and so they're bringing more of that over.
Cool.
It's really great for me. I'm excited because I
Me too, 'cause I
totally
wanna
wanna
buy
get
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
Exactly.
anime soundtracks. Like my car is full of, because I'm an old person, CDs still of just like gaming and anime soundtracks, and I never get tired of them. It's all I
yeah.
listen to at work. It's all I listen to on traffic on the way home.
Yeah.
I think the last soundtrack we included in a release was Psychopaths, actually.
Ooh.
Psychopath is a good.
It's
music
our
too.
previous watch party.
Yes, it
Recently.
is.
Yeah. So watch that.
Yeah, I just when our latest episode just went up, episode 70, and we talk about the two final episodes of Psychopaths. So check that out on this little website called
But not the
IGN.com.
movie. So that's just of the series.
Not
It's just a
The
series.
series.
Yeah, we just watched the first season, so
Okay.
if
Best
you guys aren't
season.
familiar, you should check out our regular show. And we do a watch party, which is where we watch a show chosen by the fans. We do 2 episodes every week, and we
Yes.
just break them down. So it's
Awesome.
cool. So kind of jumping back to what you were saying, that there are consequences to their
Yes.
powers. Like, they are not completely flawless.
There's like some sort of science rooted into some of this, right?
Mhm.
So
Some
made
of
up
them.
science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's made up, but also my favorite was Eraserheads because his eyes get dry.
Yeah, I do like that. I also like that people misidentify what their powers are. So the one girl thinks that water comes out of her finger. No, it's like turns moisture in the air to water.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
I feel so bad for Ochako when she uses hers and she gets nauseous and just
Yeah.
Yeah.
starts vomiting. Which I guess if you're considering like she controls or removes gravity or whatever you would be, that would give you probably motion sickness somehow.
Yeah.
Like a astronaut.
What's
Throwing
the
up.
character with a laser beam who's
Oh
always
Belly
man, the
button
naval
man?
laser.
Yeah, the
They
naval
don't,
laser.
they don't say his name very often. I just remember he's
Yeah.
the pretty boy.
Yeah.
The-
Which he's the only one
Annoying
that thinks he's a pretty boy, which I think
Yeah.
is the best part about it. That he has this self-image of him that no one else sees,
no
but
one
he's
gives
very
into that
flashy about
ever.
it.
I know,
It's the
right?
best.
It's not, but I have to admit, naval laser? That is kind of a cool power. But it also,
makes
but
his
also gives-
stomach hurt.
Is that
Yeah,
his
it
name?
makes his stomach hurt. So again,
Yeah.
there's like each person has a strength and then they have a corresponding weakness.
We didn't find out
Oh, there's
everybody's
that-
weakness though.
No.
No, yeah.
Not everyone has one that's super identifiable.
There's that electric guy that if he over.
Oh yeah,
He
his
fries
his
his brain.
Yeah. I love that scene.
Really dumb.
Oh, poor guy.
Oh god.
Ugh.
I mean, you've got to see. What's her name? Who can manifest objects out of her body?
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's got to be a cost for that.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
horrible
Well, I guess
cost for
That's
that.
true.
Her
Start
thing is
shedding.
that she has to understand the molecular
Molecular
structure
structure, yeah.
of the item she wants to make. So I think that is a pretty big cost too, because like that's very.
Yeah, she can't make
She's
any
very
living.
smart. She's
Yeah.
incredibly smart. That's another big benefit of her character. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just naturally, she studies a lot. You know?
And what I like is that the slight tangent, but going to everyone's powers, I like that. Is it Tenya, the one with the rocket
Yeah,
launchers in his
Engine
legs?
leader,
Like
yeah.
I like that he becomes class president. Like you think Deku's gonna be it, like you see that arc coming, then all of a sudden, like no, actually this is the smarter, more responsible guy. He even voted against himself because he thought it was the right
Yeah.
thing to do. And that was nice that everyone gets a little bit of spotlight time in this show, so it's not
Yeah.
all Deku all the time.
So the weirdest power I'm still gonna say so far is the guy with the multiple arms who can
Oh, yeah.
grow a body part at the end of the edge
like-
of the arm.
It's like a
Weird.
a wing thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
bat wings with like
No.
ears and noses at the end of his. of
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, came up with that?
I don't know. Yeah, how is
So
that
what
going to
haven't we
play in
done yet?
future in future seasons? I wonder.
So it's always interesting to see new superhero shows come out because you want to see what kind of powers they get because there's only so many of the same heroes. Like we have so many X-Men, we have so many iconic superheroes over here in the West. Like what are they going to come up with next? And I think that was
Yeah,
it.
six-arm guy.
They
with
just
the-
brainstormed in a room for a
nose
bit
at
and
the end
just
of
like,
his-
good.
It's
They
really
took
something I
everything.
had a nightmare about. So,
How weird can we make this?
so before we kind of finish up, I wanted to ask you guys, what prediction do you guys have for next season? So obviously there has to be another season.
Yes.
They kind of left off with a pretty big cliffhanger. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff going on.
They did confirm that there is going to be a new season.
Yes.
We had actually the director and studio president over at a panel at AX, and that was really cool. And so they didn't give us much information, but I'm hoping to see a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, there's a lot of backstory, obviously, that we want to see.
I want to know who All Might's predecessor was.
Mm.
Like, what happened to him? Is he doing all right, or she? We don't know who it is,
Yes.
because like we got the little montage of like it being passed down
Yeah.
constantly,
Yeah.
but who? Was it an American person? Because like it's like Delaware Smash and stuff. So
Yeah,
I
that's
wonder.
true. Mm.
like, do they like constantly change the names of their moves because they don't want to be like
Regionalized, like
I don't know, like, well, like,
identified.
like the idea is that this power is unknown to everybody else, that like he can pass it on because like if people knew, then they could try to steal
Yeah.
it. So how do they keep that different throughout all these years? And so like maybe if we get to meet his predecessor, then we get to know a bit more about
So
that.
this is completely weird, but you know, he passes on his power through his DNA, right? Does that mean you can't like
No, I know where you're going with this.
you can't have any relations with anyone?
I think so. So
in any form or
That
fashion.
sucks.
I mean,
I mean, yeah. That's like maybe it's a thing you have to be willing to do, but then at the same time, if you just know, maybe you can't.
it was just his
maybe,
hair. Like,
maybe
it was,
he's really lonely. Maybe
that's
All
what I'm
Might
saying.
is
It's
super
like he has this, you have a vow of like celibacy when you become the next All Might.
Oh my gosh.
What if All Might
Plot
just
twist.
like found like the previous All Might's hair in his food one day? And
Yeah, like
Oh,
maybe
that
it's
would be the
like
best
he wasn't
people.
even chosen.
But that's the thing is that with like for one, in order to inherit it, your body has to be ready.
Yeah, so you just
So what if you?
blow up.
Yeah, like what if you just killed
That's
somebody because you accidentally give them your power? Is that?
No.
If
Then
you
it
like
would
shared
stop.
a
But then,
drink with someone and
Oh,
yeah, but then the power would stop though, right? Maybe like because I guess All Might's not necessarily losing his power; he's just becoming too weak to use it.
yeah. So can you have multiple
All
like
Mights.
uber powerful All Might type
yeah.
people?
Could
at
you
the same
take a
time?
cotton swab and then take it to a lab and just start cloning All Mights?
Well, that's probably what the villains want to do at this point, right?
I'd assume.
I mean,
so.
if they knew.
Sure.
But now they don't know.
Not
But
re-
I think.
The funny thing is, so here's what I want to know. So Deku and All Might are not the only ones who know that secret, because Deku told his arch rival.
What do you guys
about-
call him? That's my question. You asked me what you call
Kachan.
Deku. You call him Kachan?
I do call him
Not
Kachan.
Bakugo?
But, yeah, but Bakugo like had too much. I like Kachan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say Kachan more, so I identify with that one.
Yeah, but I feel like Kachan knowing, like he didn't believe him, but I feel like later on down the road that's going to have consequences because Kachan still has major anger
I hate him
management.
so much.
He's
I just want
such
to
a-
smack him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get over yourself, you little punk.
yeah, he's a total punk, and we don't. I hope that they explain why he has such a nasty attitude. I'm waiting for some backstory.
He's got to have some sort like sad
I mean, like,
something to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like we saw his backstory though.
That's true, we
It was
kinda
just
did.
that he was this leader and he just wanted to be in charge. And he thought he was better than everybody else,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
wanted to pick on Deku because he could.
Yeah, but we don't know anything about like his parents. Like like sometimes you see these things where we know like Deku's mom
But
is
it's also
really
anime.
sweet. Yeah, it's also anime.
You never
But
see the
I
truth.
don't
So-
know. Like I'm just hoping that he has a really
reason.
interesting backstory that fleshes him out a little bit because I want to punch him every time he's on screen. But I do like that the Ice and Fire dude is stronger than him, and that kind of puts Kachan on it. So he's
Yeah.
not at the top of the heap, and I like that. Take that, you little brat.
Usually, I like the angry people. I do not like him.
No, there's
No.
nothing to like about him.
I kind of like him, to be honest. I'm sorry.
You,
I don't
you
know.
like that swag?
I guess you know what I really like. Clifford Chapin, who's the voice actor for him, did a really good job of doing that, and he's not like a jerk in real life at all. So
I
like,
hope not.
but I do want to find out. I mean, we all talk about backstories, but you know, the villains, of course, they're the ones that are introduced so late in the game. So I'm anticipating a lot more about the villains and why they're so obsessed with All Might. Also, I mean, I get that he's the one who beats everybody up, but there's like something else there.
So I think it was episode 10 where they kind of tried to show the importance of All Might. Like everybody knows who he is and Chiri's super popular, but I think them all sending in that many villains to go get him kind of just cemented that him being the icon of peace is just so impactful that for some reason just makes him crazy.
Yeah, the enemy at the end, the main one with all the hands all over his face. I can't think of
Yeah.
his name.
Back at the real
That's really cool
the real
design, by the way.
hideout.
Yeah, the real hideout. It felt like they were hinting that there is some sort of negative consequence to All Might's action or their
Yeah.
superhero actions. Like they have all these powers and they can sort of do what they want. And so there was like it made me think of Psychopaths, which we just finished a while back, because there's this whole thing about, well, we have this perfect society. Is it really perfect? Is it not? Just warping things in a different way.
Then we go to the classic superhero thing. Is like, should they have all this power? How should they be regulated?
Keeping them in check.
Yeah, like, well, just because they get to solve things with violence, why is it bad for us? Who gets to choose what violence is right? Kind of thing. Civil War. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you Team All Might? Are you Team League of Villains?
I have a feeling that like All Might just maybe when he made his big superheroic debut, when he saved all those people, like maybe he wronged somebody at that point or left somebody behind, and that's what spurred off these villains, maybe
Well,
because
that's
they
a good
seem
theory.
to have a big grudge against him.
He saved the cat
Aside
in the
from
tree,
being-
but he didn't save somebody's dog.
Yeah,
Now it's on.
I mean, the fish boiled alive.
Yeah. Wow. You went
Fish
there.
got boiled. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's a nice treat for cat litter. It's fine.
Yeah, I think for next season, definitely might see the boss, maybe the one behind it all.
Oh, the one who was just a voice recording?
Sure.
Yeah, but also because like he knows about All Might. He knows
Yeah.
about his power.
Seeing
Like they
this-
didn't tell him. They didn't tell his minions specifically what, but they knew. They told him that he was weaker, so he knows
He
something.
knows. specifically, like something like that.
Well, I don't think was it because of his power because he got that injury.
The injury?
I thought that's what was causing his power to fade, and that's why he had to pass on.
Yeah,
All for
he
One
says
so
so.
soon.
They even have like a recap
Right.
of like he took that really bad injury. He has like no stomach and like half his organs
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
missing,
yeah.
and so every time he uses powers, it becomes like I can only use it for 5 hours, now 3 hours, now 1 hour.
Yeah.
The
So-
recovery girl couldn't help him get his stomach back. I guess.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, too much. Would kill him maybe.
I do more than kissing for that. No.
Yeah. Oh, she might become all night.
I went there. I'm sorry. I just rewatched I'm like, oh, she kisses.
It's
so
okay. You beat
what
me
if-
by like 5 seconds. So
I
I'm
mean,
glad
that's
it
not
wasn't-
the worst thing maybe that's been implied on the show.
Yeah.
Well,
First time offender. Okay.
But we didn't say it, so it's okay, right?
Right, and on that
Anyway.
note,
Yeah.
You guys got anything else to say about My Hero Academia before we wrap this up?
oh man. No, well, so we watched the broadcast version. I'm curious if the whatever comes out for like home video and final is gonna have additional stuff. That would be cool too. So
I hope there's like a special edition that comes with like a little plushie or like a keychain or something. I'm
who
such
would you
a
want as a
sucker.
plush? Or
All Might.
keychain?
So I love All Might. I was looking for a full figure, like a full size action figure of him, and I couldn't find it, and I was sad. I like All
they have
Might.
to. They have so many characters to.
I think
I know.
I'd want Sue as a plush, but she has like the little ribbit voice thing. So you just like hit her and she's like ribbit. That's really good.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, they have the Deku Nendoroid coming out soon. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear about
That's
that.
true.
The good smiler.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Right?
good smile.
Yeah,
Good ones.
that'd be cool.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully it's not too long before season 2 comes out.
I think it's supposed to be this coming year, like spring or something like that.
Yeah.
from what I
Okay.
heard.
It's
Well
pretty
then,
Yay.
well then, good.
So,
Yeah, so maybe we'll
exciting.
have you on to talk about that
yeah,
next time.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm-
we'll get you back out
I'm
here.
sure if Funimation works on it, we'll do the like simul dub of it and make it come out really fast so I can watch it in English. Because I always like to watch what I've first watched it in, and I watched the show in English. So like,
Mhm.
I definitely want to continue it in English.
Me too. I really like the dub, so I would like to
Yeah.
keep watching it dubbed.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right, Justin. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Where
Hey.
can they find you on the internet?
You guys can find me on all the Funimation stuff, or personally, you can find me on Twitter at @JustRojas, or on Twitch. A stream is there as well as on Double Talk. We have our show. If you like anime talk shows, Funimation has their anime talk show Wednesday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch.tv/Funimation, which is tonight. Technically, I'm missing it because I'm here.
Woo!
Oh.
We stole you away.
Yes, we
Yes.
did. We did well.
All right, and Megan, Mike, where can they find you guys?
If you know where some All Might merch is, tweet me at Megan MEGHAN_IGN.
Yes, and you can find me at XPMNMs on Twitter and everything else.
And then you can find me at Havoc Rose, and it's Havoc with a K. And this has been IGN Anime Club Spoilercast of My Hero Academia. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Justin, again.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.